Throughout its 5-season run, Yellowstone delivered high-stakes family drama, sweeping ranch landscapes, and enough betrayal to rival a Shakespearean tragedy. But despite the show's consistent tension and intricate storytelling, one glaring omission has haunted the series from the very first episode: the near-total erasure of John Dutton's firstborn son, Lee. Lee Dutton, introduced and killed off in the pilot episode, was poised to be a major character in the Dutton legacy. Instead, he became Yellowstone's most baffling loose end, treated more like a narrative device than a member of the core family. The absence of his memory and the show's refusal to explore the impact of his death in any meaningful way became an oversight that diminished Yellowstone's emotional depth and internal logic. Lee Dutton was the true heir to the Yellowstone Ranch. Lee Dutton, played by Dave Annable, was introduced in Season 1, Episode 1, as the oldest and most loyal of John Dutton III's children. Unlike his siblings, Jamie, the ambitious lawyer, Beth, the emotionally volatile financier, and Case, the black sheep married to a native woman and living off-reservation, Lee was fully committed to the ranch and its future. He didn't seek power or independence like the others. He wanted to carry on the legacy. But in a shocking twist that happened far too early, Lee was killed off in the pilot episode during a confrontation with the Broken Rock Reservation. His death, while pivotal in triggering much of the series' early drama, ultimately had little lasting presence in the show's world. The son who was supposed to be the future of Yellowstone vanished, not just physically, but narratively. A catalyst forgotten. How Lee's death should have mattered more. Lee's death was supposed to be the emotional core of the first season. His killing not only escalated the conflict between the Duttons and the Broken Rock Reservation, but it also deeply impacted Case, who killed his own brother-in-law in retaliation. The event should have fractured relationships, reshaped alliances, and haunted the family for seasons to come. Instead, Lee was forgotten as quickly as he was introduced. After the funeral in the pilot, the show barely mentioned him. John occasionally referred to Lee in vague terms or had a fleeting moment of reflection, but these instances were few and far between. Even Case, whose arc could have been shaped by guilt and trauma over the loss of his brother, never meaningfully wrestled with the aftermath. In contrast, characters like Evelyn Dutton, John's wife and the children's mother, who died long before the series began, were given recurring flashbacks and emotional callbacks. Her influence was felt far more than Lee's, despite the fact that he died right before our eyes in the timeline. A character erased, no portraits, no memories, no legacy. What makes Lee's erasure even stranger is how inconsistently the Duttons treat family. Yellowstone often emphasizes how deeply John Dutton values his lineage, heritage, and bloodline. The Dutton name is everything. Yet Lee, the eldest and most loyal child, is neither honored in photos nor spoken of during family gatherings. He's missing from family portraits, even in flashbacks. Lee's absence stands out even more when the prequel series, 1883 and 1923, make enormous efforts to establish the Dutton bloodline across generations. Creator Taylor Sheridan meticulously constructed the family's ancestry, yet the firstborn of the modern-day Duttons receives little more than a footnote. It's as if Lee was created only to die and spark conflict, never intended to exist beyond the pilot. How Lee could have made Yellowstone more compelling. Killing off a major character early in a show isn't necessarily a bad move. It can elevate stakes and sharpen narratives. Game of Thrones masterfully did this, with Ned Stark. The Last of Us and Yellow Jackets also used first-season deaths to shape their show's emotional cores. But what these series did that Yellowstone didn't is continue to honor the memory of those lost. Their deaths left shadows over the remaining characters, shaping motivations, decisions, and inner conflict. Had Lee been given more screen time before his death, perhaps halfway through Season 1 or even into Season 2, viewers would have had time to connect with him. His bond with John could have been explored in depth, contrasting the father's disappointment in his other children. Lee could have represented the ideal Dutton, loyal, honorable, and sacrificial. His eventual death would have felt like a tragic turning point instead of a forgotten plot trigger. Missed opportunities and minor plot holes. The show's disregard for Lee's legacy also creates inconsistencies. For a family so obsessed with succession and legacy, the loss of the clear heir should have left a gaping hole. John's desperation to maintain the ranch in later seasons feels detached from Lee's absence, as if the show simply rewrote its own history. Moreover, certain scenes, like family meetings, ranch strategy discussions, and funeral reflections, feel oddly incomplete without any mention of Lee. His story arc ends the moment his body hits the ground, with little impact on Beth, Jamie, or even the deeply spiritual Case, who arguably would be the most affected. Lee Dutton deserved better. Yellowstone built itself on family, legacy, and the emotional cost of maintaining power. By ignoring Lee Dutton after his death, the show undermined one of its most powerful storytelling opportunities. Instead of becoming the ghost that haunted the series, Lee became a narrative casualty, used, discarded, and ultimately erased. Had his character been allowed to breathe for a few episodes, or better yet, lived through season 1 before shocking end, he could have elevated the series' emotional stakes and given its family drama even more weight. Instead, Lee is remembered more by fans than by his fictional family. As Yellowstone rides into its final chapter, it's clear that one of its earliest, and most avoidable, mistakes was forgetting the first son it lost.